Hello everyone, welcome back to Sportsbook Review's coverage of the Premier League season. I'm your host Martin Green. Today I have alongside me Matt Lawrence and Junior Browne to preview the action. George Gamble is off on holiday this week. Come to you first, Junior. We haven't had you on the Premier League show yet. What have you made of the opening weeks of the campaign? You're a Liverpool fan, I believe. Do you think they're looking strong and ready for a good season?
Yeah, I mean, this season, for the first time in a couple of years, they seem like an afterthought, so to speak, when it comes to the title challengers, right? Everyone's saying Man City and Chelsea, and then Liverpool. And Chelsea looked pretty good, but I think Liverpool looks strong, and I think the key to their success is a strong backline. We know what they can do going forward, but once Virgil van Dijk comes into town looking like a lot, I've heard a lot of commentators saying, looking like he's smoking a cigar back there while he's playing. He's so comfortable. Once they have that solidity in their backline, I think they can challenge for the title. So I think they look pretty good. And what's been key for them is that everyone in their front line, including Roberto Firmino, who has started a game yet, have all gotten goals. So if you're a Liverpool fan, that's got to look positive.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Van Dijk coming up against Lukaku this weekend. I think that's going to be a titanic battle between two.
Back pocket.
I think you might be right. It's very hard to get the better of Van Dijk, and I think he's a nightmare for Lukaku to play against. He'll certainly give him a tougher challenge than Pablo Mari, that's for sure. Matt, how's it going? Are you? How did you do last weekend? What went well for you? What didn't?
So the Chelsea and under 3.5 against Arsenal was a nice hit at plus 140. That one kind of saved the week. I scraped out a little bit of profit. But yeah, there were some misses in there too. So I'm just looking forward to this slate really and kind of moving on. But yeah, I thought that just, for example, West Ham they were incredible last week against Leicester. They absolutely torched the Foxes. So let's see if they can do it again this week against Palace.
Indeed. I'm just seeing on the chat, Harry Doherty is saying that Cristiano Ronaldo to Man United has dropped to 1.08. So heavy odds on to go to Man United instead of Man City now. That could be a bit of a game changer in the title race, but I wonder if that means Man City will go all out and sign Harry Kane. Interesting times ahead. We're going to break down all the games in just a second. But first, please give us a like. Hit the thumbs up to do that. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and you'll know every single time we're about to start filming. Head on over to sportsbookreview.com to read lots of insightful analysis on a wide range of sports and take part in our Pick 6 contest for NFL and college football. 50 grand up for grabs over the course of the season and $1,600 per week in this free-to-enter contest. There we are. That's the housekeeping taken care of. Means we can start previewing the games. And what's our first game? Oh, it's the legendary Arsenal, fresh from a 6-0 hammering of an informed West Brom team, going to be full of confidence against pretty mediocre Man City team. Do we think, Matt? A heavy win for Arsenal?
Well, I think that Arsenal can maybe even get something from this game. I know that there are huge underdogs, but I mean, it's now or never really against Manchester City with no Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, this is probably going to be one of your best chances to get a result in this one. So, yes, I know that Arsenal aren't looking the greatest, but Arteta being under Pep Guardiola, he knows him extremely well. I think he'll set up extremely defensively and try and play on the counterattack with Aubameyang. We'll see if Saka, Smith Rowe are there. I believe they will be. So I think that they'll be able to cause some problems to Manchester City on the break. But really, it's a no bet for me. I mean, I do kind of like Arsenal team total. But then when you look at the history in this fixture, Man City really dominate this one, and they've won this one a lot to nil. So many times. So, yeah, for me, maybe under 3 goals looks decent here. I just hoping that Arteta can keep it tight. But yeah, again, I really just don't want anything to do with this one.
Yeah, it's 8 wins in a row for Man City in the league against Arsenal. Arteta did get that semi-final victory in the FA Cup over Guardiola, but very, very dominant. 1-0 home and away last season. I'm a bit worried that Arsenal could lose this 1-0, just because Man City looking pretty composed. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to see who starts for Arsenal if Aubameyang can come back. Probably have Lacazette on the bench. Not sure if Saka's going to be fit, but it's going to be an interesting one. I feel like Arsenal could be staring down the barrel of a 3rd consecutive league defeat, though. What do you reckon, Junior?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Arsenal just because I think that with Manchester City's defensive solidity and the fact that they're going to dominate possession to the tune of probably, what do you think, 65-35-ish? It's really going to be hard for Arsenal to have any other strategy but to defend in numbers and hit them off the book. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
you guys hear me? No?
Yeah. Start, but now I can hear you clearly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could hear me. So what I was saying was I believe that the only choice that Arsenal really have is to defend in numbers and try to hit on the counterattack just because they're going to lack possession in this game. Anyone who's set up to defend against Man City would be Mikel Arteta. So they have that going for them. But it's going to be really difficult, which is why I kind of went for a prop in this game. I took Raheem Sterling to have more shots on goal than Pepe at -167. I just think with the amount of possession Arsenal is going to have and the amount of possession Man City is going to have, lack of the ball Arsenal is going to have, plus the fact that Pepe on his day, I mean, he's one of those guys when he's on it, he actually looks amazing. But there's also times where he's literally sleepwalking through games. He didn't register a shot on goal versus Chelsea again because Chelsea were dominant in possession. So I think we're going to see a lot of the same in this game. But as for the game overall, that's my play. I don't have a play on either side because I think that was something that Matt said had a lot of validity. I think that Arsenal can't really afford to come out and take another beating just for morale purposes, they're trying to build something here, right? They're not a club that can afford to just throw away results. It doesn't matter. Arsenal are not a team that should say, "Oh, we're playing against one of the big boys." You're supposed to be one of the big boys. So anything less than trying to get at least a draw here would be surprising to me. So I think Arteta plays it smart, sets up defensively against Guardiola's squad, which he knows inside out, and hopefully try to nick something on a break.
Yeah, thanks, Junior. Irish John is going for Sterling to have more shots than Arsenal, which is quite funny and perhaps true. It was Sterling that scored the winning goal in both games against Arsenal last season, so he should be well up for this. I'm not actually sure if Pepe will start, to be honest. He's started in both games so far, but with Smith Rowe, Odegaard and Saka all in the mix, he could end up on the bench. We shall see. But yeah, it does look like a good bet. Ken is saying, do we think the manager needs more time? I'm veering towards Arteta out, I'm afraid. I have to say, he's had a lot of time. I'll probably give him a couple more months, but it's looking pretty grim. I'm not going to judge him too much on what happens in this particular match because, it's Man City, they're the champions. Arsenal have a terrible record against them. But once this is out the way, they really need to start going on a bit of a winning streak because, it's not looking good at all. Musti's wondering when the last time Arsenal had a winning streak was. Musty, how long have you been watching football for? Arsenal are the greatest team in history. We won the league without losing a single game. Just come on, stop it. Okay, I'm not sure where Junior's gone. I think he's having a few connection problems, but we're going to plough on. We have Newcastle United versus Southampton. Big game. Two, pretty evenly matched teams. I thought Southampton would really struggle this season, but, they proved me wrong last weekend. They picked up a draw with Man United, which is very impressive. Newcastle's defensive focus seems to have gone out of the window, and, they're going for it. They're being involved in quite a lot of high-scoring games. How do you see this one panning out, Matt?
I see goals here. I mean, these are the two sides that kind of put a thorn in my picks last week. When you look at, I had Newcastle, both teams to score. I thought that Callum Wilson was onside. in that it was a very, very tight line against Villa. And then Southampton, they set up brilliantly. Hasenhüttl set up perfectly against United. United didn't play their best 11, and they got caught slipping basically. So, but these are two teams that I want to be on overs. I've mentioned that I really like Newcastle overs, Southampton as well. I think that Adams and Armstrong are I think that they're just, both teams are more set up to attack than to defend. So I've passed it, but I would be looking towards goals if I had to play it.
Yeah, I'm passing this one because I'm not really sure what we're going to get from Southampton after that result that they put in the weekend. Junior, you're back. What do you think about Newcastle versus Southampton?
On mute.
He's on mute. I think you're on mute.
Sorry for the technical difficulties there, fellas.
Right.
I believe Armstrong is out, so I'm not really sure what to make of that. And I've watched both Newcastle games because I've had a stake in both, and I've never seen a defensive five look more wide open than this Newcastle back line. Even though they're playing five at the back, they seem so vulnerable defensively that I'm not really sure that I can get involved in any game Newcastle's playing right now.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Okay, we're going to move swiftly along to a game that I'm really excited about. Brighton versus Everton. I've had Brighton both weekends so far, and they have done the business for me, picking up a couple of very impressive victories. They're playing some free-flowing football. It's looking great. Everton have got Rafa. Done a reasonable job so far. Things are looking up for them. What do you think, Matt? How's this one gonna go? Do you see goals, or do you see it being quite a tight, cagey affair?
I see goals, just the way that Brighton like to play, and just how much pace that Everton possess on the break. It looks like this is going to be a match where Brighton, the way that they want to play under Graham Potter, it's going to be possibly 60% against Everton and Rafa Benitez. But that's where I think that Everton are going to learn to become comfortable, is giving away possession, and just gifting it away for free, basically, and just saying, okay, we'll just sit back, hit you on the break, no problem. And I think that both defenses have some issues, especially when you're looking at Brighton. When they lost Ben White, that kind of hurt their pace in the back line a bit. So, yeah, I think that Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, I mean, they had fun last week against Leeds. I think that Brighton are going to set up. I mean, they're not like Leeds, but they do want to control possession in a similar manner. So, I would be on goals here. I thought that both teams to score at a dog price at like plus 105, plus 110 was the wrong price. You could also look to over 2 goals here. And, if it lands on 2, you get a push. But, yeah, that's where I would be looking here at goals. Not really comfortable picking a side in this one.
I'm glad you said that, Matt, because I've gone for both teams to score in this game. I think Brighton look a bit vulnerable defensively now that they've lost the legendary Ben White to the best team in the Premier League. But they look very strong going forwards. I have to say they've been very slick on the ball. But I think Richarlison can get a goal against them here. He's in great form. Everyone's asking where George is. George is on holiday. I don't know if he's gone to Costa Rica to meet Flash, his long lost dad, or what he's doing really, but he's not with us, so he'll be back in a couple of weeks. We have Junior, who is doing a great job on La Liga, but he's also a big Premier League fan. He's a Liverpool fan, but we'll let him off for that. So I guess you're not much of a fan of Everton then, Junior.
That's what to say. You know that I don't like Everton. Hopefully for them, this is Richarlison's game, with the last game, with all the rumors that he's going to PSG. No, but in all seriousness, this Everton team is very organized, but they have looked a bit shaky at the back. I don't like the way Keane has looked in the first couple of games. He was directly responsible for one of their goals against Newcastle, and I think he was directly responsible for the first Leeds goal. He had no reason to go in for that challenge as early as he did, which left the space for Brentford to run into and then drop it off to, I think, Klitsch, if I'm not mistaken, to score that goal. So he definitely needs to tighten up, because Obviously, Rafa Benitez is known for having teams that are very compact, very organized. And like Matt said, don't really care about having possession, just care about not letting you have possession in these areas. And that's kind of highlighted by the fact that in the first two games, Everton has actually had less of the ball than their opponents. And if that's the case here against Brighton, I think that your bet is actually pretty smart on Martin. Brighton's actually probably good for a goal if they're going to have the majority of the possession at home. They've got a lot of creative players. McAllister, if they can keep Adam Lallana healthy, he played quite a large number of minutes last season as compared to the last 3-4 years of his career. So if they can get him going, and Basuma really looks like a great player as well. I don't love that Mapai is not playing, which is probably why I'm off of this game. But Brighton has to be respected. So I think, me personally, I think the under 2.5 has some value here. I just don't really love any of the prices available, so it's a stay away from me.
Okay, well, let's hope it finishes 1-1 then, and we'll all be happy. What we got going on in the chat? 6-0. Thanks, T Wong. It was 6-0 to the mighty Arsenal. Harry's reminding me of the Andres Iniesta. Felix says that George has gone to go and get nose surgery so that he looks more like Flash. That sounds about right. Nose surgery. Next up, we have a big London derby, West Ham versus Crystal Palace. West Ham have just come flying out the blocks once again this season. They've been terrific. Absolutely destroyed Leicester last weekend. That was pretty surprising, but they've maintained the form that they displayed last season that led them to a 6th place finish. Coming up against a pretty weak-looking Crystal Palace team who have made a very sluggish start to the season. I'll come to you first on this one, Junior. What do you think is going to happen in this game? Are we anticipating another win for West Ham?
I am. I have West Ham -1 at -105. I think West Ham is just a different class of Crystal Palace at the moment. They're solid from front to back. And this is something that maybe a word I overuse, but when I look to make a wager, one of the first things I'm looking for is continuity. I don't want new coaches. I don't want moving parts. I don't want a bunch of unknowns. And with West Ham, I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm getting Declan Rice and Souček, who have a great partnership. Souček, does a great job getting forward, and so does Declan Rice when the opportunity presents itself. I've got 3 guys in Browne and Bowen that can create something for an Antonio Valencia that has become a consistent goal scorer. Now, how consistent he'll be over the course of a 38-game league season remains to be seen. But an informed Valencia partnered with those 3 guys who seem to be able to interchange positions, create things. And I think Fornals is almost pushing his way into the Spanish national team. I didn't see if he got called. I don't think he has, but he's been really, really good. He's settled in very well. This is his 3rd season in the Premier League. And he looks like a player that's full of confidence. And I think that all of that plus a solid back line, what does Crystal Palace offer going forward that West Ham needs to be concerned with? So to me, this is a clear 2-3-0 or 2-0, 3-1 perhaps. I don't want to disrespect Palace, but they've shown me nothing that makes me believe that they can trouble West Ham, although obviously Zaha's talent is to be respected. And Benteke is actually, although he didn't score in the last game, coming off a run where he'd scored 4 or 5 games in a row. So maybe they can nick a goal, but I think West Ham puts at least 2 to 3 past them in a comfortable victory.
Yeah, what a great job David Moyes is doing there. He's got them playing like Everton back before he took over at Man United, when they were regularly finishing 5th, or I think they got top 4 one season. Really hard to play against. Lots of talented attackers. Everyone giving 100% to the cause. They're looking very, very solid. And much as I hate to disrespect Crystal Palace because they've got such a legendary manager, it's just been a terrible start to the season for them, and I don't think their prospects are looking particularly good. I am beating up on Crystal Palace in this game too. Are you going to make it a full house, Matt?
I am. This is one that it did move extremely quickly. It was like West Ham -150 before the matches kicked off last week, and it's gotten boosted up, and I think it's rightly so. I think that Jr. makes some good points. I think that West Ham have an immense amount of chemistry. I'm quickly moving up them on my power rankings. I think that West Ham are probably the 5th best team in this league as it stands.
So Arsenal number 1.
Arsenal number 1.
Man City.
Then Chelsea. Then Spurs over Arsenal. No, but I think that they're right there with Spurs. I think that Spurs and West Ham right now are 5 and 6, and Antonio. I know a lot of people in the States like to do win cast. I think that an Antonio win cast, so where he scores and West Ham win here, looks pretty good. I think that West Ham are rightfully parlay pieces in this match. I've gone for the same wager at -1 on the Asian handicap. I think it's just kind of a free roll. We'll see if Patrick Vieira can try and keep it tight with Palace, which he is really yet to do. And yeah, it's a team with chemistry versus a team with a lot of new pieces. I know that Kurt Zuma is going to be a big addition for West Ham and the Hammers there at the London Stadium. He won't feature here most likely, but yeah, getting a roaring crowd behind them with a struggling Palace they don't really have an identity right now. I do think it's a free roll.
Yeah, Irish John says Vieira, he's no Roy Keane. Better than Roy Keane. Way better than Roy Keane.
What about Roy Kent?
James is saying that Arsenal aren't even top 4 in London at the moment, and I don't really have a comeback to that after the Brentford game. Musti says that Antonio would knock out Lukaku in a boxing match. Do you know what? He probably would. I'm such a big fan of Antonio. That's why we had him on the picture at the start. You know what I'd like to see? Antonio versus Mitrovic. Who would win that boxing fight? Let us know. Let us know what you think. Those are 2 big, tough players. Okay, next up we have Norwich versus Leicester. Terrible start to the season for Norwich. Horrible run of fixtures that they've had, coming up against some of the best teams in the league straight off the bat. Leicester, they're going to be smarting after that pretty damaging defeat last weekend. They're going to want to make a point. Matt, have you been practicing your Norwich pronunciation, and do you think they can get a result in this one?
I do think that Norwich can get a result in this one. I do. I think that Leicester, they just have this makeshift back line right now, and Soyuncu just looks like a lost soul compared to what he's been the last couple seasons. And then it just so they've got a lot of issues here. And I mentioned before week 1 that Norwich's season really doesn't get kicked off until right now. I mean, they just had the most brutal start that you could possibly ever have with Liverpool at home and then traveling to City. So it starts right now. Leicester they're not firing right now. So I believe that it looks like Sharps to me have beaten this one down a bit. I know that Leicester before the matches last week were hovering around the -150 range. Now you're looking at -110, 1.9s, 1.85s in this one. I think that it shows some respect to Norwich, and I think that they'll be able to create chances against this makeshift back line. So it's one that I don't have a wager on in this one, but if I had to play it, I think that I would probably be looking towards Norwich on a handicap here at home.
Okay. Yeah, there's quite a lot of people agreeing with you in the chat, actually. Giorgio reckons that Leicester are a bottom half side. That's a little bit harsh. They were 5th last season. They've almost broken into the top 4 the last 2 seasons running. I think they'll come good in the end, but we shall see. Banana Grape says that Maguire knocks everyone out in a boxing match. No chance. His head, you see the size of his head? It's huge. They'd have such a big target to aim at. I think he would struggle. Okay, Norwich versus Leicester, Junior. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I guess I'm going against the grain here because I've taken Leicester at that. I say this on the NBA show all the time. There's nothing more that I love than a sale, and I feel that Leicester at -110 is a sale. Now, I will say this. Forget about the game against West Ham. We all know how bad they looked in that game. They didn't look good against Wolves either. I think if Adama Traore knew how to finish, first of all, not only he would be a superstar, Wolves would actually pick up points when they should. He had several chances in that Newcastle game I'm sorry, in the Leicester City game, I apologize, to put his team ahead. And I think that game would have actually went a lot differently had they taken the 1-0 lead when he was put through on goal and missed a target. Jamie Vardy's finish in that game, it was fantastic. But look at the replay carefully. How many times is he attempting that, and that's being successful? I don't think Leicester City have created great chances. They looked all over the place, obviously, as Matt mentioned, against West Ham. And now they're playing against a side that's what you would have to say is inferior to them on paper. Obviously, the game is not played on paper. But I think if I'm Leicester City and I'm looking for a get-right spot, this is the get-right here, because if they don't get a result against Norwich, you have to think Brendan Rodgers' seat starts to get a little warm. I'm not going to say hot with all the success that he's had over the last couple of years, but they've got to pick up results against a Norwich side, which, in my opinion, this is my opinion, they don't offer that much of a threat going forward, in my opinion. Look at the goals they've scored. I know that they changed their full 11 basically for the recent cup tie, so their players should be well rested. But I think Leicester has all the reason to be hungry in this game. They have a lot of quality in their squad, and I don't see a reason why they can't pick up a result. At -110 to me, this seems like the sale of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that point a lot about it being a sale. That makes sense. I think if this was the first week of the season, Leicester would have been like -200 or something. When you actually analyse the relative quality of the two teams, they're a significantly better team in pretty much every department. We shall see. I think I actually passed this one, but I'd be leaning towards Leicester, to be honest. We have next up Aston Villa against Brentford. Now, Aston Villa, very poor first half in their opener against Watford, but came back, almost nicked a point, and they were very strong last weekend. I backed them to win. They did win. And great goal from Ings. What a finish that was. What a player he is. I think they can get it again against Brentford. Not Brentford have had a good start to the season, but I think at Villa Park, this one is set up for Aston Villa to prevail. What do you think, Junior? How do you see this one?
My problem here is that the Danny Ings finish that you mentioned, that's the only goal they have from open play. I don't think for the quality that they have on their side that they've been threatening enough. The only other goal they scored, if my memory serves me right, is a Mings header their side, because now that they have Douglas Luiz back from the Brazilian national team, I think that he can protect McGinn and he can protect Ramsey going forward, because Ramsey looks like a player for such a young guy. He looks like a real player, and they have a ton of quality in their front line, because even though it didn't work out for Danny Ings at Liverpool, he's been fantastic everywhere else he's gone. And really, I just think it didn't work out for him due to lack of a run to get going. He was just always in and out of the team because of the success of the front three. So I think, I would lean Aston Villa, but Brentford has to be respected, especially because of the amount of pressure they put on sides in the middle of the park, and they really don't let you get anything going. They really keep things tight at the back. So I would lean to a draw here, but I don't have a play on this one. Okay.
Matt, do you have a play on this one?
I don't, but I would be looking at opposing goals. I don't think that there's going to be too many here. Just my feel. I think that Junior made a good point. They've only had one goal from open play, and I believe Brentford. What we saw against Arsenal in week 1. They were extremely resolute when Arsenal started to put the pressure on with being down 2 goals, and they were able to stay tight, keep it tight. So I just think that with all of these new players still coming into Villa, they're still lacking in identity a bit. And so for me, I think that hurts their offense a bit. So, yeah, I would be looking towards unders here.
Okay, thanks, Matt. We'll just move swiftly along, because the next one I'm sure you're keen to talk about. I didn't put an official pick for this, but if I was going for it, I would be looking at under 2.5 goals, and I would be looking at the draw, because these two teams have started the season in terrific form. both clean sheets so far, both strong in every department, both got very astute German managers. Liverpool versus Chelsea looks like two very evenly matched teams. I can't split them. What do you think, Matt?
It's a tough one to split, isn't it? This is going to be a 10 out of 10 kind of match. I mean, this is the first really big match of the season with title contenders, and I just point to some trends though. When you look at Virgil van Dijk, for example, he's never lost a home match at Anfield, not one time. I know that Lukaku is coming in and he looked bright last week, but Mari and Virgil van Dijk are different players. I wish that Kanate was up to speed because I think that he's like the perfect person to add.
That is the understatement of the week. Mari and Van Dijk are very different players. Yeah.
Yeah. So for that, that is it's interesting. But I would be looking here. Here's the other thing too: is in the preseason, Liverpool they had everyone basically. So they've been working, training for a long time together now. When Chelsea had more European players to come back later, and for me, in that reasoning, I would be, if I had to pick a side, I don't think that Liverpool get beat here. I really don't. I think that there's a lot of people that like Chelsea, like what they're seeing from Lukaku, and it's all, it's all fine. Chelsea won this fixture last year at Anfield with no fans in the stands, but Anfield is like having a 12th man, and I think that they're going to be up for this one. I think that they're going to actually push for the win. I think that Liverpool will push for the win more so than Chelsea. So as long as they don't push too hard and get exposed on the counterattack, it'll be interesting. This is going to be a really good match. I think that you're on a good side with unders. We remember top 6 clashes last season. The under 2.5s were coming in ridiculously. I do see unders here. I think the draw is a big price. It's the best price probably of the 3. I've done some crazy things in these kind of matches before where I've looked at, a Liverpool draw no bet, or if you take Liverpool and you take the draw and one of the two outcomes comes out, you scrape at least a half unit, if not more than one. So it's one of those, but yeah, I don't see Liverpool being beat. I think they're going to be really prepared for this one. It'll be interesting to see if Fabinho, Conte are in these lineups. This line shouldn't really move a ton, so I'll just be waiting for the lineups. But yeah, I think that the power of Anfield will prevail.
Yeah, well, interesting. As I say, I think it's going to be a draw. I can see 0-0 or 1-1, and I think that'd be a good result for Chelsea to take back to West London. Ugh, Chelsea. What do you reckon, Junior? Mute. You're on mute.
I don't know if he is. Bum, bum, bum. The power of Anfield.
He's on. Yeah, you're on mute, Junior.
No, he's not. He's not. I can see it on his the bubble.
Few technical difficulties, but yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really, really tight, tense game between two strong teams. It's just we've seen so many of these big games featuring Liverpool and Man United and stuff like that have finished 0-0. I think we could see a similar sort of situation when they rock up at Anfield. Yeah, I just really think they're going to cancel each other out. Okay, next up we have Burnley versus Leeds. Two very very different styles of play here. Burnley lump the ball up into the box. They kick lumps out of you. They're a tough, physical team. Whereas Leeds, much more slick on the ball, take more risks, like to play attractive football. Which style do you think prevails in this game, Matt?
I think the same style that won this match late last season. Leeds completely overwhelmed Burnley. And I know that this is going to be tough, going to Turf Moor. But Burnley lost match day 1. They had a lead at Turf Moor and coughed it up. I think that these are definitely two different styles for sure. But I do think that Leeds' style prevails in this one. So I've gone with Leeds -0.25 at +100. I just looking back to how they completely dominated Burnley late last season. I believe they won this 4-0. If my memory serves me correctly, I just think that Leeds have too much for Burnley, too much quality. And I think that this is where Leeds will really fancy themselves. They were fantastic against the lesser likes last season. And I just think -0.25. I don't see Leeds being beat here. So if it does draw, then I would just lose only half my stake instead of the full stake. So yeah, +100 Leeds -0.25. I do think that they scrape this one.
Fair enough. Yeah, Leeds. I sort of had Burnley as my pre-season relegation pick, and Leeds getting in the top half. So I see a bit of a golfing quality between these teams. Junior, are you? What are you thinking about Burnley versus Leeds?
I can't hear you.
Can't hear him. Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Irish John says that Junior's internet is as shaky as Arsenal's back four, which is about right, really. Yeah. But come on, 6-0. Did you see the game? 6-0 against West Brom. And I know you're saying that West Brom have put out their under-14 team, but have you seen West Brom's under-14s recently? They are legends. Yeah. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Leeds for this game too. Tottenham versus Watford. Not quite a London derby because Watford is just about in Hertfordshire, but pretty close. Watford made that terrific start to the season, but didn't do so well last weekend. Spurs, 2 out of 2. Can they make it 3 out of 3 under Nuno Espirito Santo, Matt?
I believe they can, and I believe they will, being here at home. I think that Nuno, he seemed like the 10th option in the summertime for their list of managers. Yeah. And I think that they might have landed on a gem. I think that what he did with Wolves and to create them being so competitive against the top teams, and now he's got a team that he can implement a similar style with what he had at Wolves with almost, just better quality players. So instead of, Traore, who is fantastic in transitions, but he can't finish. You have Son now that's fantastic in transitions, but is clinical as it gets. Now Kane comes back into the fold. Probably won't start this match, but I love the front three of Mora, Bergwijn, Son. I think they have solidity in midfield, and yeah, Watford. I mean, just they made Brighton last week look like a top 4 side, which isn't. I mean, the Brighton sometimes last season did play like a top 4 team. So it's not, I guess, the worst result. So they'll be looking to bounce back here for sure. And I know that Watford have given Spurs some trouble in the past, but I do think that Tottenham are in a good way right now. And I believe that they should prevail here. So I'm looking at them on the handicap as well. I've gone with 3 Asian handicap bets here. I'm looking at Spurs -1.25 at plus money as well. So I do think that, generally they've had some success against Watford in the past, and I think that they're in a good way right now. I know that they've just scraped some results, and now it's time to open it up a little bit. When Kane maybe checks in the 50th, 60th, if they're already 1-0 up, I can see this one getting ugly.
I agree with you there, Matt. Yeah, surely Man City have got to go and try and sign Harry Kane now. If they're not getting Ronaldo, if Ronaldo's going to Man United, all their rivals are making their plays. Lukaku's gone to Chelsea. Liverpool haven't actually, signed anyone huge, but getting Van Dijk back is like a new signing, as they say. I think they've got to do something because they do seem to lack a focal point in attack in certain games. I wonder if Kane will move to Man City now, but yeah, they'll probably get half hour out of him in this one, and I can see him beating Watford too. final game is Wolves versus Manchester United. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers are probably very unhappy with Man United at the moment, because I reckon they probably busted quite a lot of coupons last weekend. You know, phenomenal opening weekend victory. Really, really crushed their opponents. And then to go to St Mary's and fail to pick up a victory was very disappointing. I saw Ollie out was trending all over Twitter. He's going to be under pressure, isn't he, in this one, Matt, to get a win against a Wolves team that look a little bit underwhelming. Do you think the Red Devils can get the job done here?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, just to sum up last week at St. Mary's, it was definitely a banana skin. I mean, everyone in the world was on Manchester United, because a couple days before, like when we do the show, or a day before, we're all expecting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to play his best 11. And when he throws a wrench in his 11 like he did a bit, you're already just looking at it and knowing why it was so trappy. I mean, why was Manchester United minus 165 last week? Because it's almost like it was known that he was going to rotate. Why play Matic on the road? He really thought that he could get the best out of Nemanja Matic. I don't think Nemanja Matic should be starting in any Premier League match, unless maybe it's like Norwich at home or something. Like, it's really, he's lost his legs. His legs are gone. So yeah, Solskjaer, that was on you, Solskjaer. That was your fault that you busted everyone's coupons. So, I mean, now you're seeing this decent price for Manchester United. Wolves have looked competitive and have nothing to show for it. And I think that it's a real cause for concern here. I would be looking towards United, but I'm waiting on lineups. I just need to double check. I don't care if I maybe lose 10 to 15 cents. As long as I get the best players in for Manchester United, I think that they are going to cause Wolves some problems here. And Wolves, you know, they continue to get shots in the box, but they have not taken their chances. They've been anti-clinical, if you will, in the first couple of weeks. So, I think that United probably get this one because they play a stronger 11. And that's, I mean, minus 125, minus 135. I think it's decent.
Yeah, I just fear for Wolves a little bit that they've lost their identity somewhat since Nuno left. It was always going to be a transition season for them, but hasn't started very well. And yes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does make errors of judgment, but I guess he is generally quite good at admitting his mistakes and fixing them in the next game. You don't normally see them going on really bad runs anymore. So as I say, I think he'll be under a lot of pressure to turn things around in this one. I think they can scrape it. Yeah, we're giving our picks 2 days before the match, so you never quite know what's going to happen. Maybe wait and see the starting lineups, but I think we'll see a strong Man United team go down to Molineux and leave with 3 points. Paddy's asking if Ronaldo to Arsenal is a done deal. Yeah, I think it's going to be. He's going to do a great job. I mean, Messi wanted to come to Arsenal, and we said, "Nah, mate, don't need you. We got Pepe." Have you seen Pepe? He's way better than Messi. But Ronaldo, I can see coming into the team and doing a reasonably good job, because Martinelli's going to be the best player in the world soon. But for a season, maybe Ronaldo can just about keep him out of the team, and Arsenal to win the treble. Arsenal to win the Champions League with Martinelli next season, and off you go. Good times. Thank you, everyone, for persisting with us throughout the course of this video. Had a few technical difficulties along the way, but we made it through. Esteban, could you please bring up the picks? I will read them out. We'll probably have some of Junior's as well. Oh yeah, he's got a still life version of Junior there at the bottom. I am going to go with Aston Villa to beat Brentford at plus 105. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for. Sorry, Brentford. I've got both teams to score in that Brighton versus Everton game, also at plus 105. I'm going for West Ham -1 Asian handicap at even money, and I've got straight win for Man United. Matt's also going for West Ham with the -1 Asian handicap. He's got Spurs with a -1.25 Asian handicap, and he's got Leeds with a -0.25 Asian handicap. even money on each of those bets, which is plus 100 or 2.0. Junior is going for Leeds to win at plus 125, Leicester at minus 120. He's making it a full house, so we're all going for West Ham -1 at even money. Looks like a great bet to me. And he's got under 2.5 goals in that Brighton versus Everton game, so we're hoping for a 1-1 draw there. And then finally, he's got Sterling to have more shots than Pepe, which I think sounds about right. Some might wonder if Sterling will have more shots than Arsenal. We shall see. Thank you very much, Esteban, for bringing up those picks. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. It's been great fun in the chat. I love all the loving all the banter as usual. Thanks, Matt. I hope you enjoy the weekend. I hope Liverpool put it out of the bag for you, but. I don't know. I think it might be a draw, but that's not the worst result, is it, for Liverpool? So
no. Good luck to Arsenal too. I hope that they can keep that one close. I think they can.
No danger, mate. We'll win that one easily. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Give us a like on your way out, please. Head on over to sportsbookreview.com. Read much more about all these games and much more. And we'll see you in 45 minutes for La Liga. Take care.